Hello, my name is Efrain Diaz. I'm an educational consultant with over 25 plus years in education, ranging from elementary to university and teacher professional development. I have been in Brazil as a senior English language fellow with Georgetown University for the past 3 years, working with ministries of education, conducting English teacher professional development throughout the country, and designing, implementing, and overseeing Rio de Janeiro's first public English-Portuguese bilingual high school. Welcome to my talk today on the 21st century learner and how communication and learning a second language is an important part of today's students' education. So who are these 21st century learners? Over 50% of the world's population is under 30 years old. This includes low-income, middle-income, and upper-income students. These students have grown up in the age of information and digital media. According to Mimi Ito, a cultural anthropologist and expert in the field of digital media and learning, it is important to focus on children and youth's changing relationships to media and communications. She recently completed the Digital Youth Project, a landmark 3-year study supported by the MacArthur Foundation of the ways youth use new media. In September 2010, she was appointed as the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation Chair in Digital Media and Learning at UC Irvine. Ito emphasizes the need to put aside prejudices against new media in order to harness their potential as learning tools. Mimi Ito states, I think there's a more general perception in the culture around new media that it is inherently a space that is hostile to learning, and that's a perception that I think we really need to work against. We know that the learning outside of school matters tremendously for the learning in school. The question is, how can we be more active about linking those two together? Which brings us to another question. So what are they learning outside of school? Students are getting an informal education outside of school that does not match what they are learning in school. They are learning and practicing 21st century skills, learning about and becoming more tolerant to diverse points of view and different ways of looking at things, learning about and using new technologies and apps, using their creativity in real-life situations, and acquiring communication skills in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. How does our role as language teachers change, and how can we help connect what students are learning outside of the classroom with what they are learning inside of the classroom? First of all, our role as a teacher needs to change. After all, isn't it the goal of education to create independent, lifelong learners from dependent learners? We must think of ourselves more as facilitators of education instead of the sole providers of it. We must foster and extend students' academic and linguistic skills, understand and direct them towards our and their goals, point out their learning potentials, strengths, and weaknesses, and provide academic and professional networking opportunities for them to experience real-life situations and help them decide on what they would like to do in the future. How can technology assist us in this process? First of all, we cannot be afraid of incorporating technology into our classes. It's not just about using technology, though. It's about using it for specific purposes and to facilitate and accomplish the goals we've established. We must remember that students today have grown up in the age of digital information, are familiar with it, and used to this medium. Some of the benefits of using technology are: it promotes learning. Students see technology as a natural form of learning new things, but it is the teacher's job to select the appropriate technology and time for its use. It engages students in the learning process. Even the poorest students may have access to cell phones, TVs, computers, and other forms of technology. It somewhat levels the playing field. When all students have access to technology, even lower socioeconomic students get to learn about and experience things that may not have been possible in the past. It encourages production. Students want to use technology to create products they can show and share with others, such as music, pictures, videos, websites, blogs, podcasts, etc. And finally, it maximizes the learning potential. All students can participate. Even shy students get an opportunity to express themselves through technology. Globalization. Globalization is coming. You couldn't stop it even if you wanted to. When we think of today's world, We see a world that is interconnected via internet and digital media. Businesses, education, science, and the environment are all intertwined globally, and there is a strong need for people to be able to connect linguistically with one another. Acquiring multicultural literacy and learning at least a second language becomes an essential part of one's education. This provides you with another perspective or view of the world and the opportunity to learn about, understand, and appreciate other people's cultural values and ideas. We are in the 21st century, where educational and 21st century literacy demands on students are ever more present and demanding. We are shifting from natural resource-based industries, in which commodity prices are coming down and stabilizing around the world, to brain-based industries, where intellectual property is even more valuable than gold, oil, or food. There are 7 industries in the 21st century that will lead the way. These are microelectronics, biotechnology, new materials and science industries, civil aviation, telecommunications, robotics and machine tools, and computers and computer software. These 7 industries require high levels of mathematics, science, communication skills, collaborative, creative, and problem-solving abilities. This shift in paradigms from natural resource-based to brain-based industries, from the Industrial Revolution to the Digital Age Revolution, and from the Age of Enlightenment to the Age of Information, creates new demands on today's students and language learners. It also creates a need for lingua franca, a language in which one can communicate effectively worldwide. The common denominator, though, for everyone globally is that these are man-made brain-powered industries. For example, IBM, Intel, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, eBay, etc. In today's world, these industries have no natural home. They can be anywhere in the world and are location-free. They require a skilled workforce, and anyone can conduct business remotely from literally anywhere on the globe via the internet or other forms of telecommunications. The competitive edge for any country in the 21st century will be the skills and education of its workforce. Countries such as those in Latin America, whose economies rely heavily on commodities, must invest in educating their workforce with the necessary skills to do 21st century jobs, or import workers from other countries to do these jobs. Although learning any second language is a wonderful thing, most people in today's globalized world who speak another language other than English would most likely select English to learn first, because it has been selected as the lingua franca and is recognized internationally as the language of business and science. Thus, multilinguistic and multicultural literacies become even more important for students in today's world and global economy. 21st century language learners must learn to appreciate and interact with people of different linguistic and cultural backgrounds, understand and better address global issues that affect everyone worldwide, work collaboratively with diverse countries, cultures, religions, and lifestyles, encourage understanding of other nations, their interests and values, and communicate effectively in more than one language in all areas of communication: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. In closing this talk, I would like to quote an old Hebrew proverb: "Do not confine your children to your own learning, for they were born in another time." We must strive to prepare our country's workforce with the academic, linguistic, and cultural skills they will need in order to become effective members of a global society in which multicultural views and multiple languages prevail. As the world continues to move forward, so must we, so must our students, and so must the world as a whole. Whether we like it or not, the world has become smaller through technology, and one must learn to adapt to this new paradigm in order to fit into a globalized world. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share these thoughts with you today, and I hope that this short talk will help you in tailoring the education that your students need in order to become productive members of society.